Welcome back, guys. This is Kimberly Graham, your co-host of the Affluent Marriage Podcast, and we're so excited to have you here for the continuation of our previous episode. Before we get started, I want to make sure that you guys know that you can follow us and converse with us at the Affluent Marriage Pod on Instagram. That's where you can find us to connect with us, like our content, share our content, any of those types of things, but we also want to hear your stories there as well. So excited for the new stuff that you're going to learn from today's episode. And without further ado, let's get back to the show.
I'm going to go back and basically restate everything you just said, but just...
No, I think this is good. I love that you summarize.
Because, I don't know, I hear it and I hear everything you say and you've nailed it. And I feel like sometimes I just need to say it my way.
Yeah.
Because someone might hear it and be like, oh, yeah, no, I like that.
Yeah. And I think it's really good to summarize it because I can get really passionate. And if you were able to say step 1, step 2, step 3, that'll be really helpful.
What we're telling you to do here is to literally open up a spreadsheet or get a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. I don't care what you use. Mm-mm. You had an app or whatever. We'll talk about that in another episode. We are literally telling you to open up your bank account. Mm-hmm. All right. You are going to click on view statement or view history, and you are going to go through for the month of
the previous month,
whatever. Yeah. The previous month. And you're going to start at the top and you're literally going to write down Lowe's, $29.11, Home Depot, $16.72. Food Lion or whatever grocery store you shop at, gasoline. You're going to write down every single thing that's in that month. All right. And if you use a card all day, every day, yes, that statement is going to be super long, which is why Kim and I use cash for things like groceries and fast food, because we withdraw $400 for those 2 weeks. Then we don't, our statement is less populated because we're using that $400 for those things like groceries and whatever.
Yeah.
That's a different topic. But you're going to literally write down every single thing
in categories.
All right. And I would say you don't even have to categorize it first. First, just get it all down. Then you can go through and say, okay, which of these are reoccurring? Okay, that's a gym membership that happens every month. Okay, that's utilities that happens every month. Okay, that's, and when you write these things down, you'll notice things like utilities, like, oh, this is my average, spending for these months. So it's good to have that average because when you go into the winter months and you're like, oh, it's about to go up to this number, or in the summer, oh, we're about to use that AC.
Yep.
So literally write down every single expense, get it on paper and look at it. And then, like you said, highlight or categorize and say, okay, this was food spending, this was car spending, this was housing spending, this was renovation spending. You got to categorize it so you know exactly how much did I spend this month on eating out or on coffee or on groceries. Or it's just good to know your number, because when you know, okay, on average, I spend about $800 a month on groceries. So I know I can take out $200 every week, or I'm going to use about $200. So if there's a week where you use $250 or $300, you're going to be like, wow, I kind of overspent. But maybe it happens, man. You got to restock on paper towels or toilet paper, man. That stuff adds up when you got to buy detergents and stuff like that. So literally write every single number down from your bank account, put it to paper, put it to spreadsheet. And then, yes, you need to categorize, break it into groups.
Yep, that's what it is.
So that's what we're telling people to do here when you're first starting to create your budget.
Yep. And from there, you'll be able to come up with your financial goals and find reasonable ways that you can put that dream that you mentioned at the very beginning. You'll be able to pluck out one, maybe dream that you're like, this is absolutely attainable. Maybe it's to save up, $10,000. Maybe it's to, have a down payment for a car, or to, put your kid into childhood, whatever it happens to be. You can say, I can start putting a dent in that goal that I have for myself, that whatever that one goal is, and you can start doing that. For many of my clients, they want to get out of debt. They recognize that they have way too much. So that is something that they will say, I want my additional savings to go towards paying off debt.
The powerful thing with that is, hopefully your expenses don't outweigh your income, and you can actually make a dent towards those things. But the powerful thing in that is when you get passionate about making that dent, you're going to look at your expenses and be like, okay, let's get serious. What can I cut back on so that I can make this dent? Right? Do I really use that gym membership, or is it just there? Do I need to spend this much on groceries, or is there a way I can cut corners.
Right.
You know, like do I need to have this particular phone plan or this particular internet plan or this many like cable channels?
Yep.
Like what can I cut back?
And
because that's what we did in our first year, right? Like we
had everything. Oh my gosh.
I'm still an avid gamer, but I cut out my gaming package, Xbox Live, for that year. You know, we cut our cable.
Yep.
You know, we cut our gym memberships. Like we cut out so much stuff because we were that serious about getting rid of the student loans.
And I will say that like this was not something that happened.
Rest in
like
peace, Tutti Frutti Sundays.
Oh my gosh, that was such a great time. But honestly, I don't really care because Tutti Frutti was not more important than me getting out of debt.
It's a frozen yogurt shop.
Yes,
and it was incredible.
It was really good, but it was not more important than us getting out of debt. And you have to get to that point, right? So if you're rolling your eyes and going, I don't really want to change my lifestyle for this, well then good luck.
Then you don't really want to be a millionaire.
Right? Like good luck, you know, like no matter what, there's going to be hard things you have to do. Even the idea of saying I'm going to make extra money, like that's like you're going to have to go find another job. You're going to have to work hard to make this extra money, right? To pay off debt or to, you know, increase, you know, whatever it is, your savings. But even the work of going through your expenses and canceling things or changing things or whatever, it's going to take work. All of it's work. I love the saying where it's like, you know, losing weight is hard, but so is not having a lifestyle where you're healthy, right? That's hard. Right. Choose your hard, right? Is what I'm trying to get at. So yes, that's bottom line. You're making a huge change for yourself. None of this is going to be easy. There is not a millionaire out there that has had it self-made, has had it easy getting to this point, right? Even the ones who scratched a ticket had to work to get to that place, to buy the ticket, to have a whole bunch of no's and then finally get one, right? Like don't play that game with yourself. It's going to be hard work. I think that's important to be said.
Absolutely. And you know, just a heads up, like I was saying, we cut expenses a lot that first year. Like you have to play that game with, you know, internet providers and cell phone providers.
Oh yeah.
They don't respect loyalty. You know, they love new customers. So you are constantly swapping back and forth between internet providers every year or two whenever that contract ends or whatever, so you can get the best deal. Constantly switching. We just switched our phone provider less than 6 months ago because they had an amazing deal, right? You just, you know, and I tried to give our phone provider a chance and I'd say, hey, can you beat this? And they were straight up like, no, we can't, you know, because loyalty means nothing to them. So you have to play that game with your expenses, you know, don't be afraid to swap providers to save yourself some change.
Right. Right. So, all right. I think we understand like the beginning steps. Now we're getting into like, you know, actually creating the budget.
Right.
You
so
have your goals in place. You know what you're trying to do.
Yes. Line A is your income, right? We talked about the equation. Line B is your expensive. We know exactly what our expenses are for the month. We know exactly what our income is for the month. So now what do we do with those two numbers?
So now, and essentially you would subtract them and you'd be able to find out like how much you have left.
Yes.
Right. But what I'm talking about is like, okay, we've done the 30-day analysis of what happened the 30 days before. Now we're in the month ahead. Okay. So now it's day 1 of the month. You are going to create your money management system. And now you have a very beautiful list of these are all of the expenses and I know exactly when they come out. I am no longer in the dark anymore. There's no, like, I'm giving myself, you know, a license to be able to go and spend on these things or whatever. I know what things are coming up, birthdays that are coming up, whatever for this month. So I know what I need to save for and what I need to do. Now I allocate my funds. I know what I need to cover my expenses and reach my goals of being able to put money towards the savings. I know what I'm prioritizing. The next part, the last step, is the hardest part. And that part,
what is that? Is
monitoring your progress and staying on track.
I don't like that.
I know. Many don't.
That sounds like I have to be consistent.
Yep, you sure do. You have to be disciplined, which is why I don't think, like, we can motivate you with what we're talking about right now. We can talk about our story and how we were at that point, and how we got so excited about this goal of paying off $76,000 worth of debt and that we did it in 28 months. And we can make your, you know, blood pressure go like, oh my gosh, like your heart palpitate, like, oh, I want that so bad for myself. But once you start, and you can even do all the work and get all excited about your dreams and all excited about, oh my gosh, I know where my money needs to go. You can get all the way up to that point. And that's probably what a lot of people do. And they crash because they don't know how to stay consistent.
Absolutely. No, I agree. It's easy to start that workout regimen the first week or the first time or the start of the new year, but there's not many people that stick with the gym into February and March and April and May, right? The same thing with tracking your budget, right? A lot of people probably start and, they kind of just teeter off.
Yep.
And I think something that's going to help you stay on track, like you talked about the dreaming, but there's different, when you're setting those financial goals, there's different dreams. There's the big dreams like the retirement and the forever home and, those things that are like crazy, crazy expensive that you're going to spend a lot of time working towards. Like that's awesome.
Right.
That's going to help you stay motivated and stay on it. But you also need to have those short-term goals as well, right? So when you're setting your financial goals, when you say, all right, I've got my income, I've got my expenses, this is how much I have left over at the end of the month, hopefully, because your expenses aren't out the wahoo. You can start to set those goals and say, okay, I want to put this much aside towards my debt. Or once your debt's paid off, you're like, okay, I have some short-term goals, some things that I'd like to accomplish that I need to work towards. All right, there's this really amazing cruise that I want to go on. And it's like, for my wife and I, it's going to be about $2,500. So I'm going to put money aside every month, and that is my short-term goal. Like you're going to be driven to track. Let me tell you something. If you're working towards a cruise and it's like right there, that short-term goal, like you're going to track,
you work hard
all day and night. You are going to study your income. You're going to reduce your expenses. You're going to do everything you can do to get onto that boat and have the time of your life. And the same is true with other short-term goals and the long-term goals, But I think it is important to have those little mini mile markers along the way towards the big goals.
Yeah. And this is why we say that this is a very psychological process. It has nothing to do with the money. Let me just say that. I know it sounds like counterintuitive, like, wait, but you're talking about money. I understand that. This is nothing to do with money because I said before, who is the person who's managing the money? You are the one who is managing the money. You are the one who is telling it where to go. You are the one who has the mindset to say, forget it. I'm just not going to do it. You are the one responsible. So we're not really trying to train the money. And I think that's the perspective that we have to think about. We're not trying to train the money. We're trying to train you. You are trying to train your habits, your mindset. So not just monitoring your progress, but also monitoring your mindset in the process. Because if you're thinking about this as restriction, you've already lost. You're not going to continue this because you're going to constantly feel like you are restricting yourself, right? Ask yourself what feels restrictive. Why does this feel restrictive? Does using a credit card and, spending the money however you see fit, is that really freedom to you? Because obviously the situation you're in right now and the feeling you feel right now when you're not able to do things that you truly wanted to do, or you're not at the place that you feel like you should have been at this point in time, is not like, that's not freedom, because that's not freedom. That's restriction. That's actually, you might think that it's abundance to be like, I have a credit card and I can just swipe. But then you're creating yourself a jail. You're creating restriction for yourself in the future by not preparing, by not being aware.
And I think that's why people think it's restrictive, because they've already dug themselves in such a big ditch that the budget is pretty simple in terms of what you're doing with your money at the end of the month, right? You have your income, your expenses, and you have money left over. And what are you spending it all on? Your debt,
right? Your
credit cards,
right?
Because you dug yourself in this ditch. And that's why people are like, oh, well, I don't like that. Like, that's not fun. That's not whatever. Well, you've already had your fun.
You've had your fun.
And you're about however many thousands of dollars in debt. You did that. And now it's time to dig yourself out.
Yep.
So yes, this budget might feel restrictive at first because you're trying to dig yourself out of the ditch that you're in, or climb out of the ditch that you're in. You dug it. So you need to look past that. Like that's what the dreaming and the goals are, because once you start to get out of the debt, then you can start to do the allocating, right? We've categorized the expenses, but the income, right? Like with our budget, we allocate our excess cash, the money we have left over, into different funds, right? We have a fund, which you might not think is sexy, but for repairs and tires, right? We put $200.
You know what though?
Into repairs and tires
Stop that.
every single
Stop
month.
that right now. You might not think that's sexy, but let's talk about the amount of times that you might, like the amount of times we've been about to go somewhere, about to go on a trip somewhere, and our car has an and we have to take it to go, like literally last time we had to take it to get the tires needed to get fixed, and the alternator or something, the bushings, whatever needed to get fixed. It was a $1,200 expense at the end of the day. A $1,200 expense with someone who has maxed out credit cards, no savings, no, management of funds whatsoever, would be freaking out that 2 days before going on vacation that this happened.
Right.
So you might not feel like that's sexy, but let me tell you what is. Being able to go, oh, that's annoying, that a $1,200 expense on the car, but whatever. Okay.
We still have our vacation money.
Everything's fine. We had savings for it. Pay for it and let's move on. Right? That is sexy. You say what you want, but like
no, that is
I'm
sexy.
still going on my vacation and you're stuck and you're crying because you can't go anymore.
About the car. That is true. When you put it like that.
That's very sexy.
That's very sexy.
So think about all the different situations that could happen that pop up that you're able to just go fix it, Felix. Ooh, ooh, fix it, Felix. Okay.
Wow.
But that you're able to do that, that is 100%. That to me is a millionaire flex right there. Because that's what millionaires do, right? Millionaires don't sit there and go, oh no, my car needs to get fixed and I don't know how to fix. No, they have a car guy, right? And they're able to pay for it in cash. They're able to say, take care of it for me. Why would you don't need to wait until you're a millionaire to start doing that. You can start living that and feeling that on top of it right now. Right now. You don't have to wait. Like, I'm telling you, I could talk about this last week. Like I had such a millionaire day. I felt so good. So let me go back to this before I go.
Yeah, because I want to talk about some more funds that we allocate.
Right. Yeah. But okay. So when I was talking about mindset, I got really like deep in the doom and gloom of like, it's, you have to recognize that you're in control, but you are also in control of your mindset. So start a journal regiment or like, write it down or listen to a podcast or whatever, but write down those little wins that happen over time. Every day, look at those dreams that you have and write down why you're doing this. Create like a purpose behind the work that you're doing, because then it doesn't turn into oh my gosh, I hate doing my budget. It turns into, this is empowering me to give the debt like a 1-2 punch. Like I am so over feeling like this, and this is my way out. There's no other way for me to do it. I have to get out, and this is it. So make it empowering for you to do it, because once you have that debt gone, or once you have whatever that's holding you back, the savings, whatever, once you have that saved up, it's like a whole nother world, and you actually are able to appreciate the process and the journey more that you've done that than if you just like grumble your way through it, because you're not going to complete.
Yeah, I love that. You got to celebrate the small wins,
you
right?
do.
If you're trying to lose 25 pounds and you just focus on the 25, like, you're going to be bummed out the whole time because you're not at 25 yet. But if you celebrate, I lost half a pound this week, or I lost 1 pound this month, or whatever it is, like celebrating those small wins, you won't be as mad at the exercise in the gym.
Exactly.
Because you have attributed a small amount of success to it. So it's doing something.
Right.
So same with your budget, man. You got to track this and celebrate the small victories, and know that happened because of the budget.
Yep.
That's the power of the budget.
That's the part. Yep. That's the power.
Like we said, when you get to that point that your debt is gone and you have money left over at the end of the month, it's a beautiful thing, because you get to allocate that income to other funds. And one of them that we said was repairs. Another one, y'all will love this, it's vacation.
Oh my God, I love my vacation fund.
Every month we're putting money into our vacation fund. And sometimes that's used to go visit family. Sometimes that's used to go on a cruise. But we're putting money into our vacation fund every single month. I love it.
It's wonderful.
We get to put money into entertainment. So if I ever want to go out to a movie with you, which we never do, by the way, because we have kids.
We don't go out to movies.
But we put money into an entertainment fund. We get to enjoy that every month. We have, hair care.
That's my favorite. So mine is like hair care and personal. So I get money for clothing and I get money for my hair.
Those are two separate funds, by the way.
Yes, every single month. And I get money put into there. And I've made it now a new regimen for me to go get blowouts every month, or I get a little silk press. I say blowout. I don't think that that's something that melanated people do. It's
I
a
don't even
silk
know
press.
what this.
It's a silk press, which
I
we could
just
call it
envisioned
that.
like a leaf blower
It's just what people
being just
call
blown
it.
on your face.
They call it a blowout, and I'm like, I guess
Does it
that's
make
what I
your
do.
hair, like,
it makes it super soft,
volume?
but I get a silk press. That's really what it is.
Okay.
But anyway, but she washes it and she blow dries it. So I said a blowout. But anyway, but I get a silk press every single month, and it's like, so I used to think, oh, I don't really need it, but I was like, no, I actually really love it. It buys me time, and I feel, I just love the way I feel when I get it done. Like I feel very like cute.
Yeah, but we didn't have this when we were getting out of debt,
No,
right?
we
So
didn't.
the idea of having a clothing fund every single month, like you can buy new clothes every month if
Every
you wanted
month
to,
I do. Mhm.
right? So those are a couple of the funds. We give money to our children, every month. Now, not like an allowance.
No.
We just put it into a fund and we get to spend it on them. But what are some of the things that we bought for our kids recently?
Oh my gosh. This is my millionaire day. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, this past month, this is April. It's going to be May. It's gonna be May tomorrow. But you're welcome. But this past month, I got my daughter into swim class. We paid for, our daughter Sophia to go to gymnastics class or gymnastics camp, summer camp for 2 weeks out of this year, this summer. And we also I was like, you know what? The girls need new clothes. They're getting bigger. We normally go to Once Upon a Child, which is like we love that place. It's like a secondhand store, and it's great for if you're just looking for really quick stuff or you don't want to spend a ton of money on clothes, right? And normally I would do that, but this time we had a really nice healthy budget for the kids that we put aside this month. And I was like, I'm going to go to Target and I'm just going to stock up. And it felt really good to just go and just be like, they need this, they need this, they need this, they need this. And I was like, and it felt so great. So I bought them both like brand new spring summer wardrobes. And
we celebrated a birthday this month. So
we
Peyton
did.
got a lot of gifts.
Peyton got gifts.
Our 6-year-old stepped on a tablet from the library and we had to pay the library back $144.99.
We sure did. So that's the kids' budget. So all that to say, we have stuff for like the fun stuff the kids do, but also incidentals, like stepping on a tablet that belongs to the library. So, this is literally what a budget can do for you, right? Again, prosperity plan, whatever sexy name you want to call it, you create it, but it creates such freedom so that you can do whatever you want. And you're not dependent on your income coming in. You start to not there's moments in time where I forget when he gets paid. And I'm like, oh, you got paid, didn't you?
What a beautiful thing.
Like that's right. You got paid. Like, cause it's so consistent that we just don't even remember who got paid when. It's just automatic. We both get paid. And it's just, there's never a worry about whether there is something or isn't something in the bank. Like we know that it is taken care of because we look and monitor it and have such great discipline towards it. It is the most freeing feeling to not worry about money.
Oh, it relieves so much anxiety. I mean, I track the budget probably once a week. I pop on and track all the expenses and write things down, but I never hop onto the bank account to be like, oh man, what's our number at? Are we going to have enough?
We actually use it as a joke.
Overdraft? What's going to happen?
We use it as a joke all the time. Like we're like this past weekend he went out to a brunch with some of his friends, and then I went out to a brunch this morning and with some friends, and I decided the friend that we were celebrating, she's going to have a baby soon. And I just was like, oh, I got it. I'll put it on my tab. And the other women around me were like, oh, well, I'll pay you. And I was like, it's cool. It's whatever. But it's fun to be able to do that. And Daniel will get messages and he's like, you spent this much on brunch?
Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
Do you think we can afford this? And I know he's joking. And I'm just like, LOL. Yes, we can. But like stuff like that, like that's not us being pretentious. That's our hard work that we had to go through, the same hard work that you're going through, but it is so 110% worth it.
But again, that's the power of the budget, because if you know your numbers, if you know what your income is and you know what your expenses are every month, when you see something pop up like, oh, you spent $45 at this breakfast joint, or oh, you spent however much at this men's brunch, like we're not worried about it because
No.
we know where that number falls in line with our overall number of expenses. And it's not intimidating to us to see that pop up.
It's
Because
not.
we know we've got it.
Yeah. And yeah, so I hope that you guys, as you're looking at this, as you're listening to our stories, as you're listening to the like literally step by step that we're doing, understand that this is something that you have to be mentally prepared for, and you have to mentally like monitor your progress and monitor your headspace. You need to have people around you who are cheering you on. If this podcast is the thing that keeps you going, stay and listen, because we will continue to cheerlead you and say, you can do it. We're so proud of you. This is the steps that you have to take, and the steps that we continue to take. Even however many years down the line, there are still moments where we have to go back to like, okay, we have to make these hard decisions. It's not something that ever ends, but we are always on top of it. And that is the best feeling ever. And it will heal your marriage. It will heal your communication, to have the money like under control. So it is worth the process as you step out and do this. So I know there's a lot of people that might be listening to this and like literally start doing their, categorize of their last 30 days, and they're starting to create their budget. Stick with us. We have a lot more to talk about in reference to this.
Yeah. I love the idea that you said, having someone come alongside you and, be your accountability partner. That's huge, to have like the reason why I feel like I work out so much, is because I'm competing with people on my Apple Watch. And it's those competitions. Like I want to win, that drives me.
Right.
So having someone tracking you or being your accountability partner, maybe someone else is doing it with you. Like a lot of our friends, I don't know their numbers, they don't know my numbers, but we talk about money all the time.
Oh yeah.
And not because, like you said, we're pretentious. It's just because we love the financial goals and helping each other. Like we love setting those goals. We love seeing each other crush those goals.
Yeah.
So having those accountability partners who are just checking in with you and be like, hey, how are you doing on your goals? Like, are you making progress? Yeah. Cool. That's awesome. Here's where I'm at.
I had a girlfriend who, she works in a tech industry, and she, has been a startup, and her boss had noticed that she'd been doing such a great job that she gave her a raise. And I jokingly, like, this is a group that we talk about money. We talk about investing. We talk about all the different things, which is also a part of our budget. We invest more. And I asked her, I was like, what are you going to do? What are you going to invest in with this new money? Totally joking with her, totally expecting her to be like, oh yeah, I'm totally going on vacation, girl. Like, whatever, YOLO type of thing. But she was like, you know what? I'm going to keep my expenses the same. I'm not going to change very much. And I'm going to invest the difference. And I was like, that's my girl. That is my girl. That is millionaire decision making right there. Like that is millionaire creation that she's doing right there. And I'm just so proud that I have that social circle of people who think not just about what is fun right now, because we do have fun right now, but also they're so forward thinking and thinking about what their future is going to hold for them. And that's just a beautiful thing. You have to surround yourself with people that are like-minded, right? Because, and you guys know it, because I know you have these friends, because I don't want to say I used to have these friends, like I cut them off, but like those friends that are like, let's go out, like every weekend they want to go out, they want to go to the places, they want to do all the things. And having those people in your life, it's going to tear up your bank account. Not only that, people who do that, and then while they're doing their drink, while they're whatever, they're complaining about the bills that have to be paid. They're complaining about the debt that they just accrued. They're complaining about this, and they're going, ho, 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 whatever, my bills are due, but whatever, I'm here. It's those types of things where they're making fun of or making jest at the fact that they'll never get anything better than what they have in front of them. That is a huge red flag, because this does not have to be their life. Yeah, this does not have to be your life. You have a choice. That toxic energy is infectious and contagious, and not in a good way. So you got to stay clear of that if you want to have any progress on your budget. Because I guarantee you, they're going to be the first ones to say like, what? You're lame. Why are you, what? A budget? What is that? Right. They're going to be the first ones to And we've had people like that in our lives. Oh, yeah. But you need to find an accountability partner to help you stay on track while you're tracking your progress consistently, and avoid partnering with people that are toxic like that, and keep those people far from you. Far, far away. So, okay. So I think that we have given a lot of people a good amount of like step-by-step of what they can do to start their process. It creates, I'm going to read this last part. remember that creating a budget is a continuous process that requires discipline and persistence. With practice, you can develop healthy spending habits and achieve your financial goals.
It works. I mean, we're literally
living proof.
We bought this house 7-8 years ago, and we're at the precipice now of where we're going to rent it out to. Like, this was the dream, right? And it's all because we've had a budget and we've stuck to the budget that we're here now, dreams realized, right? And that can be for you too. Your short-term goals, your long-term goals, those dreams can be realized if you form these monthly, weekly, daily habits of keeping to and tracking that budget.
Yep. So your CTA for today is
call to action.
Your call to action is to set up an environment. We totally, didn't really harp too much on this part, but we'll talk about it next time. Setting up an environment. So whether that's the people you hang around, and these are slow processes. We're not saying this has to be done like right now, but I want you to think and assess, what is my surroundings when it comes to looking at money or talking about money? Is it toxic? Is it negative? How can I change my perspective around that? How can I explore a little bit more of that? How can I, create a regimen or create an event so that you're ready to actually do this practice of dreaming, right? If that's the only thing you do is just dream about what your ideal life is going to be like and actually pricing it out, that's a nice little bonus thing for you. Don't just say you want that beautiful house on the lake or that beautiful house on the hill. Price it out. How much is that house? What would that cost per month? What would really get into the nitty gritty of what your dream life costs and write it down and be so aware and so that it's tangible. And that's going to give you the drive to be like, I have to know what's happening now so that I know how close I am to that ideal goal. So that's your CTA.
I love that.
Just set up your environment.
And our Affluent archive for today is, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you're out there, you're a business owner, and you have no idea what your money's doing, like Shellway, like you're literally planning to fail. By not having a plan, you are planning to fail. Your business will not
succeed.
It won't. And if you somehow make it by, your business will never reach its full wealth building potential.
No.
Right. And that's the biggest, loss there, is that your business could be so much more.
Right.
You could earn so much more. You could grow so much more. But because you aren't tracking, because you aren't budgeting, because you don't know your numbers, right, you'll just be mediocre at best.
And we can't just push this on to an accountant or to somebody else. We can't, because they are not in it. They don't care about your money as much as you do. They will never care about your money as much as you do. And so you need to know exactly what's going on with your money. The other thing about that too is that over 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years as a result of lack of cash flow. And so there are tons of loans out there that you can get in a hot second to make sure that you have money for your business. But if you don't know how to manage it, if you don't know how to make money, if you don't know how to pay that back, you are constantly going to be in a cycle of overwhelm, a cycle of confusion, and a cycle of just a doomsday spiral of, I don't know what's going on with my money, and I'm just trying to make sure that I know what's happening with my business, and nobody deserves that.
Yeah,
there is a way out.
I hate the idea that a business you created because it was your passion project, something that you love, could become something you despise and something you hate, right? And that's what it would be if I started a business and 3 to 5 years later, all I have to show for it is this debt of all these loans that I took out to try to make this thing successful, and I failed, and all I have to show for it is tens of thousands of dollars of debt. Like, man, like that just sucks.
It does.
Think that something you once loved, like you would just hate.
Yeah. So do yourself a favor, plan, because if you fail to plan, you're planning to inevitably fail.
Right. Because even if your business is not doing well, if you're planning, at least you see that it's not doing well, and you can end it before it gets worse.
Right. Or you have a plan to fix it.
Right.
Because you could always recover and get back on track. But unless you do that, you're just going to run yourself to the ground. And we don't want to see that for you. So please, please, please do the CTA. Do the work.
Absolutely.
And stick with us and watch and listen to the rest of the Millionaire Blueprint, because we're going to go through so many more things that are going to be helpful for you in the next steps. And if you have any questions, go to the Affluent Marriage Pod on Instagram. You can email us at hello@theaffluentmarriage.com. I think that's our email.
Yes.
And you can email us your questions there as well. We would love to be able to answer you and give you some support there. And we really just want to be able to see you succeed, whether you're an entrepreneur or, a W-2 and you have like a salary. We want to be able to support you and help you in the best way we can. So don't be afraid. Don't be a stranger.
Right. That's the beautiful thing about the Millionaire Blueprint is we have 28 plus episodes for you, which is about half a year's content. But the reason we have that little plus sign there is because there's more.
There's always more to talk about.
Absolutely. And if you are hitting up our email or you are hitting us up on Instagram and asking the questions, these shows that we're producing are literally based on questions that we've received.
Yeah.
So if you have a question, we will absolutely consider it. We'll take a look at it. We'll come up with a show for it.
Yeah.
And we'll get it out there to you. Because that's what we do for Grand Fam.
That's what we do for Grand Fam. We want to make sure you guys are set up and ready for success in your future.
Because I know as an educator, if one person has a question,
You all have
17
the
other
question.
people in that classroom have a question, right?
Yep.
So everyone has the same question. It's just who's bold enough to ask.
Yep. So be
Right.
bold. Ask the question.
Guys, thank you so much for listening to the Affluent Marriage Podcast today. This is my wife, Kimberly. She's the financial coach, 6-figure financial coach. Hey, yo. And I'm the educator, talking to you about all things that are going on in the classroom. No, not really, but I like to bring it back to the classroom because
And
that's
it matters.
That's what I know.
Yep.
And I know budgets.
And yeah, so we're good.
Guys, take care. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful morning, wonderful day, wherever you're at. Go live in love, walk in wealth. Take care, y'all.
Bye. See you later, Grand Fam.